Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jared Bruzis. I serve as the Chief Impact Officer for the United Way of Greater Waterbury, and I'm joined by Glenn McCabe, our Vice President of Communications and Community Impact, and our Senior Director, Kay Mello, Senior Director of Community Impact here at the United Way. We're really excited to be with all of you today. This is our second webinar. There's another one that has been previously recorded that folks are able to watch and review as well. Going to be the same exact information though as this one is, but we as United Way are really excited and pleased to serve as the grant manager for the council with this R2 program for the city of Waterbury, the Waterbury region, which is a really fantastic opportunity and competitive grant program administered by selected grant managers to support community-based initiatives and municipalities and neighborhoods disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs. The program provides funding to eligible organizations that implement projects focused on long-term community revitalization. Through strategic investment and oversight, the R2 program will advance Connecticut's social equity objectives by strengthening local capacity, addressing historical inequities, and fostering a more inclusive economic growth model. The R2 Council program is committing to over $36 million over the next 3 years to advance equitable outcomes and economic growth and transformation across 10 priority areas, including Bridgeport, Danbury, the greater Hartford area, Meriden, New Britain, the greater New Haven area, the greater New London area, Norwalk, the city of Waterbury, and Stamford. The R2 program operates under the equitable evaluation framework, aligned investments with the council's strategic priorities for economic development, reentry initiatives for justice impact youth and adults, and youth initiatives. It's important to remember that all submissions are due no later than 5 p.m. on Wednesday, July 15th, with no exceptions. And those can be emailed to us here at the United Way via our website, and our email here, R2 Waterbury@unitedwaygw.org, which is R2Waterbury@unitedwaygw.org. Important, if you have any questions, to make sure that you're sending those questions to us directly. You can reach out to us again from the R2 Waterbury@unitedwaygw.org, or you're also welcome to give us a call at 203-757-9855, extension 26. Again, that's 203-757-9855, extension 126. Please make sure that you're utilizing that process and that portal. Although you may have my contact information or Kay's contact information, or Glenn's for that matter, it's important that you direct all communication to either the email or the phone number at extension 126 to make sure that one of us will be able to respond as quickly as possible, as both Kay and I will be taking time off the next several weeks, and we want to make sure that staff here internally are responding to all your questions and concerns, so we're not holding up your application. You can get that over to us in a timely fashion. So those are some of the housekeeping things, and for the objectives for this conversation that we're going to be having on this webinar. We're going to go over the NOFO itself, the application, and the attachments, and have some time for some question and answers. Then also leading it back to our website, unitedwaygw.org/R2 grants, which also can help direct you to some additional information, other materials, the NOFO itself, and all kinds of fun things, which we will be putting in the chat in just a moment. So I'm going to kick it off to Kay.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Kay Mello, Director of Community Impact. Welcome. And as Jared just mentioned, our plan for this hour is to start off with the overview of the Notice of Funding Opportunity. We'll review some highlights from that, highlights from the application, as well as the addendums. My goal here is to do the overview in the next 20 to 25 minutes to allow for plenty of time for the Q&A. As I'm going through, though, please feel free to type in any questions in the chat function. We're going to use strictly the chat function today for that, and Jared and Glenn will be monitoring that and hopefully, responding as we go, but we will certainly catch up with any questions at the end. And as Jared had mentioned, if there's questions we don't get to today for some reason, or you think of something after that, please do contact us at that email and at that phone number that was mentioned, which is also on the NOFO, which is also on our website as well. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Jared or Glenn, can you just give me a quick thumbs up to let me know that the NOFO is okay? Awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right. So again, United Way of Greater Waterbury is proud to be the grant manager for the Waterbury region for this R2 grant opportunity. So again, in the interest of time, I'm not going to read through every line item. All of these documents are up on our website for you to read through in more detail, but just highlighting again that this notice of funding opportunity is for eligible applicants who are nonprofits with 3 or more years of experience providing programs aligned with one or more of the program priorities, which we will cover as well today. Also, the organization needs to be a nonprofit registered to conduct business in the state of Connecticut. And also, the nonprofit needs to be located in and providing services in the R2 region. So a couple of things that have come up as questions here so far. One is, does the nonprofit need to have its own 501c3? The answer is no. You may operate with a fiduciary. And you also, if you have a 501c3 and if you recently have acquired that, that is okay as well, as long as you have 3 or more years of experience with the program priority area that you are applying for. Also, in terms of being located in and providing services, if you have a satellite location in Waterbury and you're renting space, you have donated space for that, that also is eligible as well for this application. The MOU would need to be attached in that particular scenario. So the 3 priority areas for this grant opportunity is economic development, including that's workforce development, plus the shovel-ready projects, which we're going to cover a little bit today. Also, reentry initiatives for both adult and justice-impacted youth. And also the third category is youth initiatives. As Jared had previously mentioned, applications must be received by July 15th. That's Wednesday, July 15th at 5 p.m. by 5 p.m. and no exceptions. And again, here's our contact information if you have any further questions after this webinar. Jared had already mentioned that there's 10 cities, and of course, we are speaking specifically about Waterbury today. Programming expectations, cultural sensitivity and inclusion, outcome evaluation and continuous improvement, and sustainability. So we are asking that applicants comply with those 3 programming expectations on the program that you are applying for. Of course, there's a list of restrictions on this funding, which should be also reviewed by you as well. Eligible use of funds does include salary and fringe, the direct program expenses. Stipends may be used for eligible costs relating to eligible expenses that have been identified on the application. And then mileage expenses are limited to direct program costs and attendance to mandatory grant events. Also, there is a maximum of a 10% of administrative cost allowed on this grant opportunity. And again, all costs must be reasonable and necessary and applicable to the program that you are applying for. And we're going to be going through some of those budget attachments as well, where we're going to ask you to justify those expenses for the line items on your budget. And this funding opportunity is anticipated to provide approximately 18 grants to each region. So that would be 18 approximate grants to the City of Waterbury nonprofits. allowing an investment opportunity of a 1.2 million per year in total to Waterbury for up to those 3 years. And I don't know if we've mentioned this. I was just thinking about that. So the region, I know I've mentioned the region is Waterbury that we're talking about, but to apply for this grant opportunity, and I think we're going to get to that in the application, but just because it's on my mind, that the program you are applying for needs to serve between 90 and 100% of City of Waterbury residents. And again, must be located in the City of Waterbury. The funding period for this grant will run from October 1st to September 30th. And as you can see here from this chart that's in the NOFO here, we'll just take a moment here to look at this. We've got our 3 program priority areas, and within each program priority area, we have different funding tier levels that you will be asked to identify which tier level you are applying for on your application. And then here is the annual funding by that particular tier level. So if you're applying under economic development for tier 4, you're applying for $100,000 per year for up to 3 years. So that would be an application for up to $300,000. And this here, these last 2 columns here represent the number of projects that will be awarded under that particular tier. So in the case of economic development, tier 4, there will be a total of 2 projects awarded at that tier level. And then again, 2 more at tier 3 and 2 more at tier 2. So just so I'm clear about this piece here, it is the 100,000, let's just say, for example, you're applying under economic development for tier 4, you're requesting $100,000 a year, but your application would reflect a total amount of $300,000 requested. And we'll take a look at that when we get to the application. So here again are all of the different tiers, and also on the application, we also have a question for you to kindly answer. What would be your second tier choice on the application? So let's say again, you're applying for that $100,000 level, and then you may answer the question, I can also run the program at the tier 3 level for that $67,500 per year. Very important, an eligible CBO, community-based organization, may submit 1 application only per region. So 1 in Waterbury from each applicant. Applicants must also select 1 program priority area per region, and multiple applications for the same region are not allowed, but again, you may submit 1 per region, so you may also submit an application in a different region, say Hartford or New Haven or Stamford, etc. Eligible projects. Okay, so just explaining a little bit more, diving a little deeper here into those 3 program priority areas, economic development, and we're going to see some of the indicators as well. Because there is that workforce piece, but just to highlight that shovel-ready project piece, the long-term vision here, again, is to achieve sustainable wage growth and enhance existing brick and mortar projects in the DIAs, which for us is Waterbury. Funds may also be used to repair or make limited renovations to property owned by nonprofit organizations to make the spaces safe and accessible for program participants, or to provide more usable space for your programming. And projects under this program priority area should be completed by the end of the 3-year funding period. Reentry initiatives, again, support the transition of justice-impacted individuals, both youth and adults, back into communities, focusing on reducing recidivism and promoting social reintegration. And there's a list of services here that qualify. And then the youth initiatives programming, again, we're directing that programming should be directed toward providing educational and social opportunities, mentorship, and support the development of children and youth. And again, our deadline, Wednesday, July 15th by 5 p.m. Our timeline here, we have released the NOFO back on May 26th. We're holding our information sessions now, obviously, And then we have our deadline July 15th. And then the council approval of awards is right now estimated to be in September of 2026. So this is important here for if you are applying for a shovel-ready project, please note that the program needs to meet certain requirements and needs to be pre-approved by the municipal zoning bodies. So that is very important there. And with some other economic growth projections, as well as your community impact described with the benefit versus burden breakdown, safety improvement measures, and then connection back to that R2 program priority area. We also are asking for all applications, there's that this is actually the evaluation criteria, I should back up and say. So this is very important to read through, to note that your proposal will be evaluated on your statement of need, including those qualifications for the shovel-ready project, as well as project sustainability and longevity, goals for the program, resources that you have to carry out the program, budgets, existing programs and services, and that project feasibility, which includes that 3-year project timeline for those shovel-ready projects. And yeah, and that's basically an overview of the NOFO. What I'd love to do now is jump into the application because we have a few things here that I'd like to cover. And here again, on your cover sheet, and I had mentioned this before, here's the area here where we are asking if you're not awarded at your first choice, please let us know another tier level that you can operate the program with. So if you can kindly do that up front, that would be very helpful to us. Again, just highlighting some key points here on the application. I spoke about this before, but just to highlight again that you are certifying that 90 to 100% of your program participants are residents of the targeted region, which in our case is Waterbury. You're certifying that your organization is a nonprofit entity and provides services within the targeted region. You're certifying that you have at least 3 years of experience operating in that particular program priority area you are applying for, and you're also certifying that your organization is registered with the Connecticut Secretary of State. So here's where we talk a little bit about if you do have a fiscal sponsor, just please note here that we are asking for you to attach that fiscal sponsorship agreement and/or MOU. Here's where you're going to select your program priority areas and talk about that. Again, I'm not going to go through all the questions, but if you have any questions on the questions, please do let us know. I'm just going to jump down here again in the interest of time. We're doing well. It's about 12:18. Oh, I do want to highlight the indicators on the application. So you'll see here the list of the indicators that we're asking you to select. A question did come up on this. You do not need to select all of the indicators under a particular priority area, nor do you need to select all of the indicators under a sub section either. So we're under general, right? You don't need to select all of these, but again, we do ask that you take good note and select those indicators that will allow us as reviewers to ensure that you're accurately measuring the program success. And then over time, as we ask you if you are awarded to fill out your reports, again, that you're going to be able to show that success of the program. So as many of the indicators that you can do that show that success, we encourage you to do that. So you'll see all of these here for all of the 3 impact areas, or program priority areas, I should say. And then again, I just wanted to highlight at the end, oh, I got something, highlighted these things for myself. Oh, again, if you're doing that shovel-ready project, that you're also asked that it should be completed within 3 years. And at the end, I wanted to review the mandatory attachment checklist, and we're going to be just taking a few minutes to go through these different attachments and the addendums as well. But there is a statement of assurances that needs to be signed and attached, a conflict of interest disclosure. We're going to be taking a look at the attachment C, very important, your budget, both your program and operating budget there, and then 2 years of audited or CPA prepared financial statements need to be attached to the application, and a review does count for that. Organizational chart, board and advisory committee lists, 2 letters of support, resumes for key personnel, proof of Secretary of State registration, and again, if it's applicable, that fiscal sponsor agreement or MOU. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and jump to just reviewing a couple of the addendums. And again, you're going to find all of this on our website. Addendum 1 really does that deeper dive into those program priority areas for economic development, really talks about the eligible activities for what you can apply for here. So this would be important to review, as well as the reentry initiatives as well, and those youth initiatives. Okay, and then we're going to jump over to Addendum 2, talks about special conditions. So any applicants here that are awarded funding under this NOFO will be required to participate in an in-person formal onboarding training, which will provide all of us, right, with the knowledge and tools necessary to report on the program, the requirements, compliance obligations, and performance expectations. So there will be that. In addition, if you are awarded under the grant, there will be several capacity development courses that you will be required to attend. And they really look great, by the way. Performance data evaluation, financial management for nonprofits, project management, AI for nonprofits, establishing strategic partnerships, and grant writing strategies. And moving over to Addendum 3, which again are highlighting some of the reporting requirements here. And just a heads up, completion and submission of monthly financial reporting will be required. There will be quarterly, periodic program reporting, annual completion and submission of the fiscal and program reporting templates. And then also the grant manager will be conducting at least annual site visits, and probably a little bit more often, even upfront at the beginning of the award year. And then again, it talks a little bit more about what you're required, as an awarded organization to collect and provide. So again, just highlighting that. And then there's some examples here as well. So you can take a look and see of all the demographic information that you will be required to report on, as well as, again, those indicators that you are selecting in your grant application. So I do want to jump again now to Addendum 4, because this one has got a lot going on with the budgets and all that. So just to highlight again, I think we're familiar with this at this point, but here are all your documents that need to be included with your submission package, your cover form and your application, which is a fillable application document, those annual audited financial statements, the budgets. I do want to highlight this. So there's going to be 3 budgets, in some cases possibly 2, because what we're asking for, we're going to take a look at this in a moment here, is your budget that will tie to the amount of your request. So actually what the R2 funding would be used for. Then we're also asking for a program budget. So again, the program budget in some cases for some folks, right, might be one and the same as their R2 request. But if not, if your program is larger than that request, then we'll also ask you for that program budget and then an agency budget as well. Again, you've got those statements and conflict of interest statements and all of your other attachments, which we've covered here. I do want to, so in this particular addendum number 4, you're going to find your forms here. to complete and sign and get back to us in the package, I do want to highlight attachment C. So here is where you will complete your budget summary for the use of the R2 funds. So this total amount here, total amount requested, will actually total to the amount on your application. So that example we used earlier, if you're applying under Tier 4 for your economic development initiative, and you're requesting 100,000 per year, that would be a total of 300,000 for, you'll have each of these columns will add up to 100,000, and then your total budget would add up to that $300,000 request. And then again, we would ask you if your program budget is larger than that particular request to also attach that with an agency budget as well. The second form here is your justification for breakdown of costs. So we are asking that you take each budget line item and give us the justification on what that amount would be used for. And then lastly here, we also have a description here for all of the positions and staff people assigned to that program that you're applying for. And if you can kindly fill out the chart here with the hours that they are going to be providing to the program per week, their hourly rate, salary, fringe, and total. And that would be everyone here listed on this schedule. You would also include the resume for as well. And lastly, in the case of wanting to subcontract out, there is a subcontractor Schedule A detail form that would also need to be completed as well. So if you are doing that shovel-ready project and contracting that out for, let's say, you would also need to complete this as well. I think we have one more form left here, and that is the award notification and post-award requirements. So again, if you are selected and awarded, you will be notified in writing. And again, we estimate that to be around September of 2026. And award notices will be delivered electronically to the primary contact as identified in the application. And then there will be a contract execution after that. And then again, after that, there will be that formal onboarding training that will occur. That is mandatory. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now so we can see where we are with the chat, and we can go ahead and have some time for Q&A if anybody has any questions. Oh, looks like we haven't had any yet. Did I miss anything, Jared or Glenn, in that overview that you'd like to share?
No, thank you.
Okay, so
nope, but I will reiterate that all the forms, the previous session that we had here, plus a forum that we had last week, those videos are all linked on that the webpage that is in the chat section. The link is in there. You can find all that throughout that page.
And also on that page as well, we have also uploaded a Q&A, so you can print that out and read that through. That is a list of all of the questions and all the responses that have come through to us, so that it could be helpful as well. So we do have a couple of questions. Can funding be to develop a new program? My understanding, Jerry, right, is that yes, it can be new and it can also be existing. Except for one caveat. The agency needs to have experience in that priority area. Would you agree with that, or you're not certain about the new? Okay, excellent. How do you define youth? You know, that has come up before, and I believe that we're pretty open to that. I believe it's like birth to 24, right, Jared?
That's correct.
Okay. Who would the letter of recommendations come from? It's a good question. I believe that. I'm not certain. Go ahead, Jared. You want to take that one?
Sure. Those questions will be coming to us as the grant manager at the United Way.
Okay, they're saying who would the letter of recommendations come from? Okay, so I think the, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the letters of support, is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, if they're letters of support, they would come from different organizations in the community, whether it's from municipal leaders or other leaders in the community or folks that you're working alongside to advance some of the work that you're supporting in the community. So could be a number of different constituents here.
And we did have a question on who the letters of support should be addressed to, and we had asked that they be addressed to the Waterbury R2 review team. Okay, and then I see James got his question answered. Okay, happy to hang out for a few minutes in case there's additional questions. You're welcome, Hetty.
I think the other thing is as you go through this process and you're looking at the application, and if you do have more questions, know that we are here. We just ask that you take a look at the website to pull that email address that Glenn is posting or has posted here to make sure that we are all in the same loop of communication. So it's that R2 Waterbury at unitedwaygw.org or our office line with any questions at extension 126 to make sure that one of us respond to you in a timely manner so that we're not holding up your application and you're not waiting to have an answer to one of the questions that you might have.
You're welcome, Ian.
You will also, you'll see on the website that the previous session that we did here is on there. This one will be embedded on there as well in the next day or two. So if you want to review this actual presentation.
And there's no silly questions. So if folks don't have any questions for here, that's fine. But if you'd like to follow up with us, we're happy to do so. We recognize that some organizations are much larger and some are smaller and some may have greater capacity than others. So we as a United Way team are happy to work alongside you to make sure that you have the support they need to have a successful application.
We have a question. Are we able to propose outcomes related to youth mental health support? So I don't know about proposing new indicators. I believe we have to use the provided list of indicators, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so hopefully
You'll
Nora
be asked to put
answers
the
your
amount,
question.
and you'll ask
But-
me to put the numbers that you're expected to serve in there.
Right, and selecting from the indicator list. However, if anyone wants to speak to additional, outcomes in the narrative, feel free to include them there. And you're welcome, Nora. And if there are no other questions, then I think we can give folks back 28 minutes of their day.
Great. Okay, thanks for all your work, and Glenn, thanks for your support. We appreciate everybody on the call taking time to learn more about the R2 grant. We're excited to administer this on behalf of the Social Equity Council of the Council. And so if you have any questions, you know where we are. We're happy to do so, and we look forward to reviewing your applications soon. So keep us posted and let us know what we can do to support you. Thank you.
Yes, and please email and call us if you have any questions. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.